All right, let's get this thing started. And make sure that my chat over here, get everything out of the way. The welcome screen off there. All right. And open up Krita, and then. All right, there we go. All right, so welcome everybody to the live show. Tonight I'm going to be sculpting, or not sculpting, drawing the last character design before we sculpt. And so let's see here. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. So let's see, the latest character is going to be one of the guards for the king, and he's going to have a telescope, and he's going to be looking at this other character, the mother, and he's going to get angry, and the king's going to get angry, and they're going to be upset that the mother is taking some apples from the apple tree after they put up a fence. And so the guard, I want the guard to have, and it kind of popped in my mind before the show that I want the guard to have hair covering his eyes. And I also want him to have similar colors to the king, because I figured, you know, the king and the guard they'll all have kind of like similar, you know, it's like the king would be like, I like this color, and everybody would have to wear it, kind of a thing. So I don't really have anything else in mind in terms of the design. So I'm probably gonna let me look on Google real quick here and see if I can find. Let's see. I'm gonna bring this over in just a second. Crazy cat. 1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna open up my images here, and this is what I get with Medieval King Guard. And so I'm not really sure if I want to have him fully decked out in armor, because I don't think that would really be appropriate. Something kind of that, you know, he's a guard, but maybe he's... this might be kind of good. Doesn't have a helmet on or anything like that. Maybe like a robe like this. Not a robe, but a cape. And some kind of interesting boots, but I don't think I would go with that. Probably just from here up. Something like this would be alright. And I think maybe an apple for a symbol on his chest would be nice also, because that's their sort of symbol. So let's go with that. And we'll just loosely base our design on that there. Hey, Randy. Yeah, Ron Cole finished his demo reel. And his webpage, I think it's a Wix.com webpage. I have a simple Wix webpage, and I like Wix. But man, every single YouTube video I watch now has a Wix campaign ad on there. That and the new 3D printer that they've come out with from Form Labs. I think I've seen that ad about 500 million billion times. Something about how they hone in on you, and like they know that you're into 3D printing, so we'll replay the same ad over and over. Whoops. Oh, I should have created another layer there. I did that improperly. Alright, let me just do this real quick. Select this. Yeah, I did that. Put the paintbrush. Okay, that's our background layer. New layer, and then black. Go back to pencil. Okay, now I can draw. Well, thanks for being a fan, Hudo. That's cool. Let's see. So again, can I get the same sized? So I'm not drawing this with blue first this time. I'm just gonna sketch everything and see what happens. If you guys notice, sometimes I don't really stick to a formula when I draw. Let's see what, oh, that's what scale is this at? 100%, 50%, 100%. I want to make sure that they're sort of drawn to the same size. All right. Yeah, it looks, any kind of web page is going to be helpful, you know. I think for what you're doing, you don't really need to have a major web host or anything like that, Ron, because if you had some like really major plan, you know, where you can upload 500 gigabytes to a web server or whatever, that would be really kind of a waste. I think Wix is probably perfect for most people. Same with Blogger, and like, you know, if you want to have a simple blog, you know, you don't really need to pay a lot for that. But if you're into like, you know, making a commercial project or something, and there's multiple people that will like, you know, need to contribute to the web page and this and that, it's kind of imperative. But I wonder if I should like, yeah, I know they don't really charge a lot. Hosting like all my websites is like how much money per month? Over $60 a month. Let's see here. Yeah, I think this guy could be a little bit shorter than the king also. Kings don't like people bigger than them around themselves because they'll feel inferior. So this guy will be kind of a little bit shorter than the king. And there's his little stubby boots. And then here, definitely have to go with an apple for the symbol. Something like this. And then his hair will be, will it be straight, curly? What will it be? I think this fat chin thing would be kind of funny. Give him a fat chin. Something like this. Yeah, Wix is pretty cool, and I have all my I have like a sculpting Mark Spess sculpting service on there, and I don't know. I don't think I've gotten any work out of them. Most of mine, people that find my stuff, I think find it through YouTube. This guy here, let's see, he's got like a little collar thing going on. And let's see, and then he's got, that be one color, or should I break that up? Let's see. The eraser. Maybe some sort of a belt thing going on. And then that should be pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to close my reference so I can see the chat. Hey Janet, welcome to the show again. So, Randy, you're saying your Australian client found you through here, through our live show? Oops. Why is that happening? There we go. Through one of our previous broadcasts or something? That's pretty neat. Wondering if something like this would be kind of good. This might look kind of neat if I do this. Okay, so I think this looks fairly good. Clean this up a bit. So the king and then his guard and the apple symbol and his telescope. Which he's not going to be posed this way in the final shot, but I think this is good like this. Something about that size. Oh, okay, cool. So on animateclay.com, that's good. Well, that's actually really great because at least this site is not, a waste. It actually helps people in some way. I always kind of feared that, it just kind of sits there, and I mean, a lot of people are using it lately. It's kind of interesting that there's a lot of nice new posts on there as of late, but one positive thing, if you want to maybe call it positive, I don't know, is that I heard that Facebook is kind of losing its luster. Like a lot of people aren't using Facebook so much, and so that probably means that more people will use web pages catering just to let's see here, to niches like stop motion and all. Because like Anthony Scott, I remember he was going through a thing where he felt like his site wasn't popular enough, and of course like Nick Hilligoss posts there all the time, and Mike Brandt and a few other people post there. And I think that stopmotionanimation.com is even more popular than our site, and seems to always have a lot of activity. So I don't really, know what Anthony was, worried about, but he was ready to throw in the towel. I think because Facebook had been taking, all the people that would visit his site would go to Facebook, to all the Facebook groups and everything, and use their services instead of his. And I can kind of understand why. I'd be like, do I want to keep that website up? Is it worth it? Because there's a lot of stop motion areas on Facebook. Let's see here. I don't know if I like this. I'm gonna erase some of this part here on his knees. Go put that pointy part right there. Yeah. Something like this, maybe. No, I don't like that either. I can just kind of make it simple. Simple is always good. Get rid of all this. All right. Simple, simple. Okay. So Ron says, I need to edit page letting people know what information I need from them to estimate a price for a puppet. I get questions like, how much for a puppet of a dog? Yeah, that's the difficult part. I remember, when Jurgen Kling and Dave Hetmer and also Ron, when I used to run that puppet making service on animateclay.com, that was the big thing. Like every artist that creates puppets has different rules they want to go by and to charge by and so forth. And it's like, yeah, it can get complicated. And even if people want a dog, there's so, like, for example, one customer might want a dog and they want it out of clay, and then another customer wants it out of silicone with like a super high tech armature in there, all ball and socket, and then they want it in the style of something from a feature film. And then others, they might want it simple. Others might not have a big budget. So it's involved, very, very involved. I know that even I've got a puppet making service on my site, and I don't really get a lot of requests, and I turn a lot of people down because I'm busy with other stuff. But even though I've spelt it out on my website, nobody actually, maybe 1 in about 10 will provide enough information for me to actually give an estimate right from the first message. But it's just really new for most people that want puppets made. All right, now that's pretty good. This is our simple character because I cannot draw well. So I'm going to start coloring this. Let's see. Let's select this color with my mouse because it doesn't work with the Wacom. I remember that. And then new layer. Okay. There we go. Yeah, Facebook is really political. That's why that was one of the articles I read about Facebook. They said that, you know, the political part of it is why most people are getting off there. And we're all kind of guilty of it. You know, everybody posts political stuff, especially with Trump in office. It's kind of hard to get away from that. 24 hours a day in the news, always Trump. You know, he's good for ratings, so everybody wants to talk about him. And Randy says he doesn't read anything political. He scans past it looking for the next happy video of a dog. It's a good idea. Alright, so we got our orange face. They're almost like their characters made out of oranges. And they like to eat apples. So maybe they're carnivores? Blah. Not carnivores. Yeah. What would you consider it? What would that be called? It's not really cannibals. Unless they eat other oranges. But it's kind of cannibalistic. It's like eating another species of fruit. Oh, did I select the wrong color there? Let me go back here. Where'd he go? What's going on with my critter here? Why are you doing this, critter? What's going on here? I think critter is crashing on me here. Can't do anything. Alright, let me do this. Save as... So it's going to be called, let's see, King Guard, maybe. I'm going to close this and then try to reopen that, and if it doesn't work I'll have to restart. Critter. Ah, okay, there we go. So, let's see. What colors to use? And Hoser Lou says, or cats. Lots of cat videos on Facebook. Yep. I kind of just go on there for the art. Sometimes, where'd my king design go? What the heck? Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart Critter. It is not working. I wonder if there's a new version out yet for this that corrects some of these bugs. Please load. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, let's try this again here. I'm gonna move this here. Can I move it? Alright. I'm gonna try to reselect another color. Okay, are you gonna work? Please? Okay, it works now. sure I got the proper layer selected first. Alright, so here we go. Voila. And I think, let's see, so for the shadow area of that color, it's this. So most likely when I get to sculpting the king and also this character, the guard, I am going to need to make them together and make sure that I have enough clay to make both of them as well, which won't be hard at all. I mean, this is just the amount of clay that I'll need for both characters for their clothing and everything won't be a huge amount. And I don't know if I'm going to be using a lot of like squash and stretch or anything like that. On these characters, but I might. The king might be pretty well animated. Like I should probably give him at least some squash and stretch replacement faces because he's gonna get mad at one point. And to kind of get him, you know, really animated, I don't want him to be just really static. I want him to be enraged. Really enraged. Let's see, what color did I use again? Let's see. Let's go back to this. All right. Go back here. So, Hoser Lewis saying, I just got Photoshopped through a friend at Adobe. I'm completely afraid of it. Ah, okay. So for just sketching around, like character designs, or you can do a lot in there. I mean, if you're doing stop motion, you could do green screen. You can remove green screen and do chroma keying. You can do front light, backlight. I think even Ron Cole made a video on that, front light, backlight, with Photoshop. I think it was Photoshop. But it's a helpful program. I mean, you can, like Krita here that I'm using works pretty good for most things, but Photoshop might be more stable for you. Now I have Photoshop CS2, and it's not very stable on Windows 10. It's really, really buggy. Things like pop up and disappear and all that kind of good stuff. So let's see, go back to here. Oops. Some of the shortcut keys that I use here are hard to memorize because I use ZBrush Core, and I've been using that a lot lately, so I keep pressing the wrong keys to do things. Alright, so let's see. Now, for this part of his collar here, I know I want to do that part black, I think. That look alright? Let's do the king. Yeah, the king has a black belt. So I'm gonna use black. Maybe not pitch black, maybe just a little bit lighter than that. Get his belt colored in. Maybe a little bit darker. It's pretty good. Like I say, there's gotta be similarities in their fashion so that you know that they're sort of like a royal type family or something. There has to be some connection there. I'm thinking for his arms, I might make those red too, because the king has a lot of red, and then the king has the white frilly stuff around his neck and the side of his clothes, so I might go with white up here. Yeah, there's a lot of tutorials on Photoshop. I mean, there's a lot you can do that probably 90% of what you can do in there I don't even touch. I mean, they use Photoshop for, you know, touching up photos of celebrities and things like that for magazines. And there are just so many tricks you can use. And people actually go to school just to learn it. I mean, that's how complicated it is. You gotta go to school. And there's books but the one bad part about it is that when they do updates, sometimes they remove stuff or change things, you know, and you got to relearn things. And so if you learn, the best thing to do is make sure that you're learning the right version. Whoops. What did I do there? Did I do that incorrectly? Oh. My king design disappeared again here. Where did you go? Let me close this. Maybe it's got something to do with the fact that it's expanded or zoomed in here. So let's do this again. And like with this, you know, it's so buggy of a program. You kind of need to just learn by repeatedly doing things over and over again. Which I don't really know if they're going to be fixing these bugs anytime soon or what, but I hope they do. I think I might just leave like I might leave a blue band around his neck to separate the white from his orange face. Oh yeah, I mean Photoshop, you can do almost anything with Photoshop. I mean, I've been using Photoshop for maybe 10 years. Like I say, I still only know maybe 10% of it. It's just really, really complicated what you can do with it. Like even like batch converting images. Like you can have a whole entire, let's say you're doing a stop motion film, right? And then you want to resize all your images to, you know, maybe a smaller size for some reason. You could tell Photoshop, and you can program it, and what you do is you like have it follow what you're doing. So for example, you have a folder and it's got 200 images, so you open up one image from there, and then you, let's say you want to change the hue of the color to more of a neutral white or something. Maybe your lighting was too much on the orange side. So instead of going through each and every single image to change your colors and your hues and your brightnesses and your contrasts, you just do it to one image, and then you can tell Photoshop, okay, now do that to all images in that folder, and it will automatically repeat the same process you did for one for all of them. So it's actually really, really cool. It's a really good program for stuff like that, and but like I say, it takes a while to learn, and even something like batch converting, you find a YouTube tutorial for that, and if you don't use it a lot, you'll forget about it, So one of the things that you might want to do is save your tutorials, like save your links as bookmarks. I know it's a really simple thing, but a lot of people don't think about that, and we can go back to that later on. Let's see here. Back to this. Okay. Yeah, animators have been exploiting Photoshop for a long time. I'm not really sure like what Leica and Aardman use for their graphics programs, but I'm sure even those studios probably have used Photoshop at one point. Like removing rigs, for example, and um, chroma keying and all that stuff. Cutting out sections of a film and adding new ones, and like one thing you can do is you could take a green background and remove it and replace it with any image that you find on the internet, so you can have technically if you have a character you want them to be in Paris, France or someplace, it's really easy to do that. Okay, so I think I said I'm going to make the arms red. So I'm going to select the red again. There we go. And maybe for around his wrist, again, it will be that same white color. So there we go. I think that will be alright like this. And maybe for here I should probably go with that blue. So next week I'll be sculpting these characters, or starting to, and one of my plans is I've got this table that I made with wheels on it, so I can wheel it over to where my computer is here, and I'm gonna stick a camera on there and have it above what I'm doing, so you can see, looking down at what I'm sculpting. And so I'm trying to work out if I'm gonna use my web camera or if I'm gonna use my DSLR to be the web camera. The DSLR will give really great images versus the web camera, so I might do that, but I had to come up with like a system above the table, so that I can have it aiming down and not have the camera fall or anything, because it's expensive. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I might just do something with the web camera at first, and I want to 3D print out like a little hinged, almost like, you know, like a spine joint for the camera to hinge on, so I can re-aim it and have it so you guys can see exactly. Let me see here. Oop. So you can see what I'm doing. And I 3D printed out like this really cool. It's a sculpting tool. Well, actually, it's a pencil holder, but I turned it into a sculpting tool organizer. And I'm trying to get organized so I can, you know, not be fumbling around when I do the next live show. And this is also the last week where my show should be jittery, because I know that as I'm doing this, it's broadcasting really slowly. And I didn't call AT&T yet to get them to speed up my internet to fix that, because I didn't really see these shows as needing, you know, 30 frames per second to broadcast, because it's just drawing stuff. But for next week, hopefully we'll have that sorted out. It's on my to-do list. And I know that from the 16th to the 18th, I'm going to be in Kansas City, so I don't know if is that a Wednesday or not? I hope it's not. If it is, I might have to skip next week, which would be bad. Let me see real quick. My calendar says, oops. Ah, okay. The 19th is a Wednesday, so I don't have to worry about that at all. That's far off. Yeah, that's a long ways off. Having a home-based business, you know, I never pay attention to what the date is. So it's like, what's today's date? Where do I live? See here. No. So the king has red for a lower body. Should I make it the same way? I think I'm gonna use red for the lower extremities, and then oops, what's going on here? Red. And the knees, I might use yellow, because the king has yellow as a like a pendant, or like a golden. Yeah, it's like a pendant. So Randy's saying that when he wants to have the camera above, he uses a tripod. Yeah, maybe I could figure something out with the tripod that I have. Like clamp it to a side piece. Because the table I have has like a backsplash to it, so I can clamp things on there. Maybe I could clamp up like a 2x4 on there, and then from there do that. I'll have to see. I'm gonna use yellow here. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see. Well, let me see what it looks like with the white on his wrists. Might not be too bad. It's kind of bright, though. I don't think I want his knees to be that bright. Yeah, I don't want the camera to break. That's the main thing, you know, if I rig it up and it's not strong. That's like my animation camera, so. But for broadcasting, it works really, really nice. Let me see. King doesn't have any shoes. Thinking black might be better around his neck. There we go. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna put his hair in there and see what I can do to make this look nice here. What color? Some brown. Oops. So you guys have any... Most of you guys have YouTube channels, but has anybody else done any live broadcasts before? Anybody experimented with that? It seems like there's not really too many stop motion people doing live broadcasts. I don't know if YouTube changed the rules, like if you need so many numbers of videos, or I know that I've always made videos pretty regularly, so for me it was pretty easy just to, you know, get signed up for their for that option, but they're always changing, and I don't know if it's hard to do nowadays. I know they're making like YouTube is coming up with this new broadcast system where I think they work with the TV industry, and they're trying to branch out their brand to like a Netflix kind of a thing. So it seems. I didn't really get a lot of details about it, but I don't know how that would affect my broadcast, if it does or does not. Alright, so I think this character would look pretty good with sort of light brown hair. This. And then for the shoes, what color should I make the shoes? Maybe black. Again, black. Let's see what this looks like. I know my friend Webster, he's been trying to make it on his own with making stop motion, like commercials and films and things and videos, like, you know, music video stuff. And it's pretty tough to do that. You know, I'm wondering how he's doing out there too. Like, there's so much competition with stop motion nowadays. Oops, where'd everything go? Come back here. There we are. So Adam is saying that his buddy Kyle Stevens of Wingsuit Pictures does it now and again. So the live broadcast? Cool. So it's Kyle Stevens from Wingsuit Pictures. That's nice. And there's a lot of people out there that, you know, there's so many people that I've bumped into and worked with in some small capacity with stop motion that I always, you know, it's hard to keep up with everybody. Like Daniel Garacito, I don't know what he's doing. He used to talk to me about, you know, like translating for people that do stop motion down in Argentina, and so many people. And the crazy part is I went through some boxes that I had in a closet, and I found a bunch of old stop motion stuff that people had sent to me because of my website, and it was stuff like let's see here, video, like demo reels and things on DVDs and things like that. And people like would write me letters and say, hey, you know, this is what I'm doing and what do you think? And, you know, a lot of people, I wonder, like, nowadays what they're up to. Like, are people, did they stop doing stop motion in the past 10 years, you know, after sending me that? Or did they keep at it? And are they working in a studio? Or maybe they're just, like, working as a waiter or a waitress in a restaurant, you know? Because it's hard. It's like, it's not easy to do stop motion and make it and really be successful. I mean, if you just, I don't know if anybody out there is friends with Alba Garcia, but she's trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. And she gets out there and she goes to, like, she's going to Mexico City. I saw on her Facebook wall, going to Mexico City for some sort of talk and everything. So she's got like a popularity to her because of her personality. She's so, like, bubbly, and, you know, she's out there. She's out there talking to a lot of people and Skyping and this kind of thing. And just, you know, it's like like for her, it's like this giant emotional roller coaster. Every day it's like, you know. And I know she's bidding on some sort of a video project for like I think it's like a German rock band or something, and she's trying to get like you know, get the rights to make a video for him, and she wants these armature kits from our store, and I'm putting them aside for her in case she gets the job. But, you know, I remember working for John Lemon Films, you know, when they would bid on a project, it was one of these things where you know, you bid on a project and then you wait like 6 months for an answer, and other people are bidding, other animators are out there like trying to get the same job, and they're trying to bid lower than you with the same or more, you know, quality or more experience. So it's really competitive. And right now there's a lot of really good stop motion animators out there because the current generation has YouTube and Google, and they can just look up all this stuff and be like, oh, you know, how do I do this? How do I do that? So stuff that people are doing now at the age of like 17 and 18 years old, I couldn't have really dreamed of doing because I didn't have access to that knowledge. So people are going to just get better and better at stop motion, completely get better than, and probably surpass most of us because of the just, absolute access to everything. And I'm partly, I mean, most of us who have been in stop motion, we're on the internet making websites and talking to people and all, we've helped people to do that. And on one hand, we helped people to do that. And then on the other hand, if you're trying to do it as a business, you're sort of growing your competition. But anyways, welcome to the show, Ethan Partington. That's like a very British sounding name. Are you from the UK or that part of the world? Partington. All right. So I think this looks all right. So what about his telescope? I think his telescope needs to be, I think, maybe gold. Some sort of gold color. Let's see. So you guys can't see that I'm selecting colors to the right, but because of the chat, but I'm trying to find the right color that doesn't clash with his orange colored skin here. Let's see, this might work. I don't know, maybe that's too similar. Or not. Let's do this. And I might actually be able to like paint stuff too. Like, I don't always have to, when you're working with clay, you can paint it with acrylics. So if ever you can't find the correct color, like, or maybe you want a metallic color that actually has metal flakes in there, I could probably just paint this telescope the proper colors. I'd rather use clay if possible, but you can't buy like Van Aken or puppet putty with flakes of gold in there. That's not too bad. All right, I keep wanting to press like the key F as a hot shortcut key and get the whole thing to fit within the frame. But so here's our character. I just need to shade this a bit. Something like this. And maybe a little bit lighter as well. So stop motion is not easy. I guess that was the point I was trying to make before. Yeah, I guess, Adam, you're right, because Don has gold puppet putty. You're right about that. It is like a golden hue, but I don't think it has like little flakes of gold. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, you're absolutely right. You probably could. Donna's really good with that stuff. He's really obsessive about his puppet putty. And if he can't get something exactly right, he gets really upset about it. I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, like it shows that he has pride in his work. Oops. Still need to do this. All right, now for his hair, I think I want to make it look a little bit better. I think maybe I can go with so I might even be able to give him some multicolored hair like this. With Captain Quill, one of my characters for Zombie Pirate Tales, I kind of threw in highlights to give his hair depth. You know, because these characters are going to be very much, like I say, flat characters. They're 2.5D, so these are all going to be relief sculptures, and using colors can really help give your characters more depth, even though there is none. You know, so let's see here. Is there like a smudge tool? Is this a smudge tool here? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, this is one of those times where I wish I knew how to use this program better, but I generally get by just, you know, trial and error. I think with like learning Photoshop, you know, it's one of those things you'll just pick it up after a while. If you're new to Photoshop. It's kind of fun to see what different tools can do and everything. And there's a smudge tool in Photoshop like this too. A little smudge tool that you can use to like blend colors and stuff. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that'll work. I don't have to worry too much about the details. And then wrong one. Here we go. Oh, why isn't that working? Is there a reason? I had paintbrush. Oh, I had the smudge tool selected, that's why. Okay. And it's going to probably go in here and make things a little bit more crisp. With black. So Ron is saying silicone can be cast with metal powder in it and it looks good. Cast metal looking rubber and stick it to the clay. Cool. Yeah, I've got some silicone for this project too, and the problem is that it's orange in color. So I think I can't really do that exactly. It'd be nice if I had some like white or clear. eraser. Back to the proper layer. Clean that up a bit. Here. Yeah, silicone is a cool material. I mean, there's a lot you can do with molding and casting, which I don't really know why, like Madame Tussauds and all these places that have always done faces in wax, why they don't transition to silicone, because it would be more durable, you would think. One of my friends makes like wax faces and heads and stuff for museums, and he collects them on like eBay, and then he'll fix them up. He'll get some from like the 1920s and really old ones, some of which are in horrible shape, and he'll like scrape off layers of wax. And then there's like wax and there's oil paints that they paint them with. So he'll go in there and like clean it up and make it look like it's brand new. But you would think that silicone would last maybe, 1,000 years. I don't think it really breaks down that much over time. Some do. Like I know some, like the oils kind of leach out of it. I had some really cheap stuff a long time ago, some silicone, and it did break down. But I know that they use like silicone for gaskets and stuff and electronics, and it holds up really well. Oops. So Ron says, Dragon Skin and Platsil Gel 10 are translucent, so it takes colors and powders well. Cool. I know they sell like glittery fabric glues, which they turn kind of into a rubbery substance after you use them. You can bend them a bit, but I don't think you could. I don't think I can make anything sort of thick out of that. Alright, well, I don't want to get too crazy with this. But I think this is probably pretty close to done at this point. Alright, so anyways, that does wrap up this show for the week. I think that this character is good enough for what we're after. I will need to, when I sculpt this, pose him properly. But this really gets me, gives me a good idea of what I need to do. So like I say, next week we'll be sculpting, and so I'm going to set something up with my new sculpting table. And hopefully that will be fun. So it will be 8 o'clock Central GMT -6, and that will be on the 15th. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, everybody. I will see you all next week. See you later.